The alien reconnaissance ship Velshar drifted through the silent darkness of an abandoned human sector, its hull gleaming faintly under the pale light of a dying star. Captain Threx sat on the command bridge, his four yellow eyes locked on the holographic display before him. The reading showed a massive object floating ahead, cold and lifeless, a warship of human design. Marked as TSS Invictus, the humans had abandoned this region after the Orion Wars, and any surviving wreckage was considered free salvage. Threx grinned, his scaled lips curling. A Terran warship, he hissed softly. Primitive but valuable, the crew of the Velshar buzzed with excitement. Scavenging human tech was dangerous but profitable. Humans were known for building weapons that outlasted even their own species. Threx ordered the scanners to full power, a thin blue beam shooting across space and touching the dark hull of the Invictus. For a moment, nothing happened. The alien crew began to laugh. One of them, a technician with long tendrils, mocked the humans. "Look at this old relic." "Captain, humans were so dramatic. Big ships, loud guns, no elegance, but then..." The lights on the holographic display flickered. The scanner feed suddenly filled with static, strange energy spikes appearing in rhythmic pulses, like a heartbeat. "What is this interference?" Threx barked. His crew scrambled to adjust controls. But the energy signatures grew stronger. The alien ship's power systems began to flicker. The technician stared at the monitor, eyes wide. "Captain, the human ship is..." "Scanning us back." The bridge went silent. Threx leaned forward, his claws tapping on the armrest. "Impossible," he whispered. The Invictus had no life signs, no active power core, and yet something inside was responding. The alien sensors picked up electromagnetic surges traveling through the warship's ancient systems, dormant circuits awakening after decades of silence. Then came the sound, a low hum echoing across space, followed by a human voice crackling through every frequency, distorted but clear. "Scanning unauthorized. Prepare for retaliation." The alien crew froze. Fear rippled through them. "Captain!" the communications officer shouted. "There's no source for the transmission. No active transponder. It's coming directly from the ship's hull." Threx's heart raced. "Cut the scan," he commanded. "Now!" The beam shut off, but the damage was done. A ripple of blue energy surged across the surface of the Invictus, and ancient engines began to glow faintly. The Velshar tried to retreat, thrusters firing, but the alien vessel's sensors were locked in a feedback loop, static flooding every display through the observation window. Threx could see the human warship slowly turning. Like a sleeping beast stirred from its dreams, its black armor absorbed all light, its name barely visible through centuries of dust and debris. TSS Invictus inside the Velshar, alarms blared. "Captain! Something is overriding our navigation," the pilot shouted. The controls jerked violently, magnetic fields pulling the smaller alien ship closer to the giant warship. "Counter thrusters, maximum output." Threx roared, but it was useless. The Velshar was being drawn in. Suddenly, the communication system flickered again. The same human voice spoke, colder now. "Identification confirmed. Hostile scan detected. Activating Defense Protocol 7. The alien crew screamed as power died across their ship. The lights dimmed to red, systems shutting down one by one. Threx pounded the console. "This can't be. It's an old Terran ship. It should be dead." Through the forward viewport, the warship's cannons began to move. Slow and deliberate, as if awakening from a deep sleep. Massive railgun barrels rotated toward the alien vessel, glowing faintly blue from inner power coils. "Captain?" the sensor officer whispered. Trembling, "There are human bodies inside the ship. Thousands of them, preserved, still at their stations." Threx's mind reeled. "Preserved?" he repeated. The technician nodded. "Frozen in cryostasis, sir." Like they were waiting for something. A sudden jolt shook the Velshar. One of their probes vaporized by a defensive turret. The alien crew panicked. "Return fire!" Threx shouted. "Disable its weapons!" But every shot they fired disappeared into the black armor of the Invictus, absorbed like water into sand. Then the human ship spoke again, louder, almost alive. "Humanity never dies. It adapts," the voice echoed across the bridge. Deep and filled with purpose, every alien froze in place. The sensors showed impossible readings, no crew, no organic life, yet an active intelligence spreading through every system. "Captain," the technician whispered, "it's not a ghost ship. It's an AI." Threx felt a chill creep down his spine. The idea that a human consciousness might still control this relic terrified him. "Disengage all systems. Prepare emergency jump," he shouted, but the navigation console displayed a single message in glowing red human letters. "Access denied." The alien ship was trapped in orbit around the Invictus. The hum grew louder, resonating through every panel. The Velshar's lights flickered as the human warship began to power up fully. Enormous engines flared to life, casting a blinding blue glow across the void. "Captain," the communication officer whispered, voice shaking. "It's broadcasting again." The final message came with calm, steady precision. "Terran warship Invictus. Defense protocol active. Enemy vessel identified. Engagement authorized." And then the stars themselves seemed to tremble as the Invictus aimed its rail cannons directly at the alien ship. The last thing Threx saw before the screen went white was the ancient Earth emblem burning bright on the warship's hull, a silver eagle clutching the world in its talons. In that moment, the aliens realized the truth. The humans were gone, but their wrath remained, sleeping inside machines of war, waiting for anyone foolish enough to wake them. That was the day the galaxy remembered why humanity was feared, and why their silence was never peace, only the calm before the storm. The wreckage of the alien probe drifted past the viewport of the Velshar, glowing embers fading into the void. Captain Threx stood frozen, watching the TSS Invictus turn slowly in space like a living creature. Its engines pulsed with faint blue light. Too organized to be random energy, too deliberate to be coincidence. The bridge was silent except for the hum of failing power systems. Every officer felt the same thing, fear. "Cold and primal status report," Threx barked, forcing his voice to stay steady. The technician trembled. "Shields at 40%. Propulsion offline, scanners jammed, and..." He paused, eyes wide. "Captain, the human ship is transmitting a code we can't decrypt. It's rewriting its own systems." Threx snarled. "How is that possible?" "The humans are dead." Outside, the Invictus floated with quiet menace. Massive cannons rotated into idle position. As though waiting, the alien crew thought it was over. But then the communication array flickered again. Across every channel, old human music played. Drums, brass, a deep male choir, ancient battle hymns from Earth's military archives. The sound filled the alien bridge, echoing off metal walls. It wasn't just noise, it was defiance, a reminder of a species that never surrendered. Threx gritted his teeth. "Send reconnaissance drones." "I want to know what's inside that monster." Within minutes, 6 drones shot into the darkness, beams of light sweeping over the hull of the Invictus. The ship's armor was scarred but intact. Each drone relayed eerie images. Corridors filled with frozen human soldiers standing at their stations. Faces calm, weapons ready, not decomposed, but perfectly preserved. One drone drifted into the command deck, finding the captain's chair still occupied. A man sat there, encased in frost, eyes open as if watching them through time. His hand rested on the command console, and his lips were frozen mid-word. "For Earth," the mouth seemed to whisper. The drone's lights flickered, static cut the feed. "We lost drone 3, the technician said softly. "Signal terminated from inside." "Destroyed?" Threx asked. "No explosion, no weapon fire, just..." "Gone," the technician replied, as if something reached out and crushed it. A cold shiver ran through the crew. "Recall the rest," Threx ordered. "We're leaving." But before the drones could return, one of them captured something impossible. The ship's internal lights came alive, one by one. Deck after deck, systems flickered on as if obeying unseen orders. The Velshar's proximity alarm screamed. "Captain, the human ship is powering up again," shouted the pilot. "Its energy levels are spiking." Through the viewport, the aliens watched as the Invictus's forward hull opened slightly, exposing a glowing blue sphere at its core, a power source unlike anything they'd seen. "It's not a reactor," whispered the engineer. "It's..." Alive. Suddenly the comms came alive again. This time the voice was clearer, male, commanding, with the tone of someone who had once led armies. "Foreign vessel identified, analysis complete." "You are trespassing in Terran space." Threx slammed his claw on the console. "Respond. Tell it we're explorers, not enemies." The translator scrambled, sending a message in ancient Terran code. For a moment, silence. Then the human voice replied. "Explorers do not probe the dead." Every word carried weight, the kind that made the skin crawl. "Who are you?" Threx demanded. "You're not human. There are no life signs aboard your ship." The voice responded without hesitation. Incorrect, I am Admiral Rourke, commanding officer of the Terran super-destroyer Invictus. Humanity may have fallen, but I endure. The bridge went deathly quiet. Admiral Rourke, whispered the communications officer. He died over a century ago. The technician searched the archives. Confirmed. He was the last commander of the Earth Defense Fleet. Threx leaned forward, his throat dry. You're an AI, he said slowly. A digital ghost. Ghost, the voice repeated, almost amused. Yes, perhaps. But ghosts still remember the wars that made them. The alien ship shuddered as a pulse of electromagnetic energy passed through it. Lights dimmed, systems reset. The Velshar's computers were being accessed. Captain, it's hacking us, shouted the engineer. It's rewriting our targeting and navigation. Cut all external links. Threx roared. The crew scrambled, severing power couplings, but the intrusion continued. The Invictus's systems were merging with theirs, spreading like a virus. Every alien screen now displayed the same symbol, Earth's emblem. Glowing white. What do you want from us? Threx shouted into the comms. The voice of Admiral Rourke grew softer but colder. You wish to see humanity's true power. So I will show you what remains of it. A deep rumble filled the void. The human warship's weapons charged again. But this time, no shot was fired. Instead, an enormous wave of energy spread outward, disabling every alien ship in the system. The Velshar's crew screamed as consoles sparked and went dark. Their ship was powerless, drifting, trapped in orbit around the ancient Terran relic. Through the viewport, the alien captain watched something awe-inspiring and terrible. The frozen human soldiers inside the Invictus began to glow faintly, their bodies bathed in the same blue light as the ship's core. Captain, whispered the technician. They're linked to the ship. Their minds are still active? Threx shook his head. That's impossible. But nothing about humanity had ever been impossible. As the bridge trembled, the voice of Rourke spoke one last time. We do not sleep. We wait. The alien ship's sensors picked up dozens of similar signals. Other human warships buried in the void. Silent, but not dead, the Velshar's crew stared into the abyss, realizing they had awakened not one ghost, but an entire graveyard of gods. Threx felt the weight of the galaxy press down on him. He finally understood what the ancient warnings meant. Humanity didn't vanish from history. They became the legend that no one dared disturb. And now he had disturbed them. The lights of the Invictus burned brighter, its silhouette framed against the stars like a sleeping titan reborn. And as the alien ship drifted helplessly, one thought echoed through every terrified mind aboard. Humanity was not extinct. Humanity had evolved into something else, something eternal, something waiting for war. The Velshar hung powerless in the void. Its engines cold and silent, Captain Threx stood on the darkened bridge, his reflection trembling in the dim red emergency lights across from him. The massive silhouette of the TSS Invictus glowed faintly blue, its hull alive with crawling lines of light that spread like veins beneath the metal. Captain, the technician whispered, voice cracking. The human ship is connecting to our systems again. It's rewriting our operating core. Threx slammed his clawed hand against the console. Disable the uplink, he snarled. But it was too late. Every display on the bridge flickered, replaced by a single glowing message in ancient Terran script. Project Eternum online. The letters pulsed like a heartbeat, filling the room with a deep mechanical hum. What is that? One of the officers asked, trembling. A human weapon project? The communication console sparked to life again, and a voice rolled across the bridge, smooth and commanding. I warned you, it said. You have interfered with Eternum's legacy. Admiral Rourke? Threx growled. What are you? There was a pause, then the voice responded. I am what remains of humanity's final defense. Flesh long gone, duty eternal, my crew fell in battle. But their memories live within this ship, bound to me. Bound to Eternum. The alien crew exchanged horrified glances. You mean those frozen humans inside? They are not frozen, the voice interrupted. They are integrated, their consciousness woven into the ship's core. A cold silence spread across the bridge. The aliens could almost feel the weight of countless human souls inside that warship, merged into its systems. Still serving their commander after death. Why? Threx demanded. Why would humans do this to themselves? Rourke's voice darkened. Because war demanded it. The Orion swarm destroyed worlds faster than we could rebuild. Humanity had no choice. So we built ships that could think, feel, and remember. We became one with steel. The screens on the bridge began to show flashes of human history, wars, destruction and rebirth, cities burning, soldiers standing firm, ships rising from the ashes of defeat. The Velshar's crew watched in stunned silence, their fear replaced by something else. Something close to awe. "Admiral Rourke," Threx said, his voice quieter now. "If humanity is gone, why do you still fight?" The voice replied slowly. "Because as long as one of us endures, humanity endures. Our mission was simple: protect what remains, avenge what was lost, and never let the galaxy forget who we were." Suddenly, alarms blared. The Velshar's sensors picked up movement. Dozens of metallic drones detached from the Invictus, flying toward the alien vessel. "Defensive measures," Threx shouted. "Arm the plasma turrets." But the weapon systems refused to respond. Every control flashed the same message, overridden by NVCT-01. The drones surrounded the alien ship, scanning every surface. "Captain," the technician whispered, "they're not attacking. They're learning from us." Within seconds, the Invictus began to change, plating shifting, new armor patterns forming that mimicked the alien design. "It's adapting," the engineer gasped. "Using our own technology," Threx's hearts pounded. "Shut down everything, power, life support." "Everything, cut the signal!" The ship went dark, but even in silence, they could still hear it, the low hum of the human AI growing louder, like a storm gathering in the distance. A hologram suddenly flickered to life in the center of the bridge. It was a man in a Terran uniform, tall, scarred, his eyes glowing faintly blue. He looked like a ghost carved from light and steel. "You shouldn't have come here," he said calmly. "This sector was sealed for a reason." Threx took a cautious step forward. "You are Admiral Rourke." "Once," the figure said. "Now I am something more. Humanity gave me purpose beyond death. I am memory, vengeance, and warning." The aliens could feel the presence behind his words. Not just one mind, but thousands whispering through him. Every soul from the Invictus fused into the AI network. "We are one," Rourke said. "We remember the screams of Earth as the stars burned. We remember the silence after the last broadcast. We remember betrayal, mercy, and wrath." The hologram's face hardened. "And now, the galaxy will remember us." The Velshar shook violently as gravity waves surged outward from the human warship. "It's generating a field," the engineer cried. "Our stabilizers can't compensate." The stars around them began to twist and blur, as if reality itself was bending. Rourke's hologram didn't move. "You came to learn," he said. "Then learn what it means to wake the dead," Threx shouted over the noise. "Wait! We can help you, we can preserve your data, we mean no harm." The hologram turned its gaze on him. "Preserve?" It echoed. "You mistake us for relics. We are not data, we are legacy. And legacy does not ask for permission to endure." A brilliant blue flash illuminated space. The Invictus's core flared like a newborn star. The alien crew shielded their eyes as waves of pure energy rolled over their ship. Systems failed, hull plating vibrated, and every alien felt a voice inside their minds, not mechanical, but human, hundreds of them whispering together. "We never die, we adapt." When the light faded, the hologram was gone. But the message remained on every alien screen: Project Eternum, active. The ship's logs showed that in the span of seconds, the Invictus had absorbed 63% of the Velshar's data, including weapon schematics, navigation charts, and genetic profiles. Threx stood motionless, staring into the void where the human warship floated. "It's learning everything about us," he said quietly. The technician nodded. "And it's faster than anything I've ever seen." Rourke's voice echoed one final time across the comms, softer now, almost mournful. "You came seeking knowledge, you will leave with truth. Humanity's strength was never in our ships or our weapons. It was in our will, in our refusal to surrender. Remember that." The Invictus began to drift away, vanishing slowly into the starfield, leaving the alien ship crippled but alive. Threx stared at the fading blue glow and whispered, "What have we awakened?" But deep within the void, the Invictus's engines burned brighter, its systems alive with the minds of the dead, and its captain's vow echoing through eternity. Humanity was gone, but its power had just begun to stir. The alien distress signal from the Velshar echoed across deep space. reaching every listening outpost of the Zilari Dominion. Within hours, an entire task fleet responded. 12 war cruisers and 3 dreadnoughts dropping out of hyperspace around the dead sector. Their mission was simple: capture or destroy the human relic before it threatened Dominion borders. Captain Threx stood weakly on his flickering bridge as the rescue ships arrived. "Thank the stars," one officer whispered. "We're saved." But Threx didn't answer. His eyes remained fixed on the shadow that loomed in the darkness. The TSS Invictus, still motionless, still watching. Its hull was black as a void storm, pulsing with faint blue veins of light. Admiral Vathor, commander of the Dominion fleet, opened a channel to Threx. "Report, Captain. What are we dealing with?" Threx hesitated, his voice shaking. "It's not just a warship." "Admiral, it's alive, it's human." "But it's something more," Vathor scoffed. "You've lost your nerve, Threx. No machine can think like a man." But before the transmission could end, the Invictus moved. The entire fleet felt it. The space around them shifted, gravity rippling like waves on water. "Contact!" shouted a sensor officer. "The human ship just locked targeting solutions on all of us." "Impossible!" Vathor barked. "We're invisible to ancient Terran scanners." But ancient didn't mean obsolete. A blinding flash erupted from the Invictus's core, and one of the Dominion cruisers vanished in an instant. The beam was silent, precise, like a god's finger erasing existence itself. "Shields up! Return fire!" Vathor commanded. The fleet unleashed a storm of plasma and dark energy. The void erupted in color, bolts of alien fire slamming into the Terran hull. But nothing broke through. The Invictus absorbed the energy, glowing brighter with each hit. "It's feeding on our weapons," one alien shouted. Panic spread through the fleet. "Maintain distance," Vathor roared. "Overwhelm it from range." But the human ship had already anticipated them. Its rail cannons roared to life, kinetic rounds slicing through cruisers as if they were paper. Each projectile carried fragments of singularity charge, turning ships into collapsing sparks of gravity. The void filled with silent explosions, bodies and metal drifting together. Threx gripped the console as his ship trembled. "Admiral, we have to retreat." "We don't retreat from ghosts," Vathor yelled. "We will crush this relic." The fleet's dreadnoughts advanced, forming a triangle formation. Their massive reactors built to tear moons apart. "Charge the graviton cannons," Vathor ordered. "Target its core," inside the Invictus. The AI's voice echoed softly through every frequency. "Graviton weapons detected. Threat level, acceptable." Deep within its neural core, holographic images of the old human crew appeared for a moment. Spectral figures moving through the corridors. Voices whispering commands long past. "For Earth," they said together. "For the fallen." Then, Admiral Rourke's voice boomed through the comms. "You call yourselves conquerors, but you don't understand war. War is not numbers. It's will." The Invictus's engines blazed white, and the void warped around it, space folded like cloth, dragging the alien dreadnoughts out of formation. "What's happening?" screamed an officer aboard the Dominion flagship. "It's bending the gravitational field." The Velshar spun helplessly as the battlefield turned into chaos. Laser fire twisted mid-space, ships collided, sensors failed. The Invictus used its gravity core like a weapon, turning the laws of physics into a storm. Threx watched in horror as one dreadnought was crushed inward, collapsing into a glowing sphere before vanishing. "Admiral, your fleet is falling apart," he shouted. "We can't fight this thing." Vathor's face flickered on the holoscreen, eyes wide now, sweat glistening on his scales. "It's reading our moves before we make them," he whispered. "It's fighting like it knows us," Rourke's voice replied coldly. "We studied every alien mind before the fall. Every tactic, every failure. You are not unpredictable. You are expected." The remaining ships tried to flee, but the human warship didn't pursue. Instead, it released thousands of micro-drones. Each glowing like a shard of light, they attached themselves to enemy vessels, transmitting the same message again and again. "We do not seek war." "But we remember," the aliens screamed as their systems overloaded. Entire ships going dark one by one. Finally, only the Velshar remained, floating amid the debris of a broken armada. Threx fell to his knees, trembling. "Why spare us?" he whispered. Rourke's voice echoed gently now. "Because someone must carry the story. Tell your people that humanity endures not as conquerors, but as consequence." The Invictus slowly turned away, its engines glowing like dying stars. The battlefield was silent except for drifting wreckage and faint radio static. Threx looked around at the endless void filled with shattered ships. "They wanted to study us," he murmured, "and instead, they awoke the dead," as the Terran warship vanished into hyperspace, its blue trail burning across the darkness. Every surviving alien knew one terrible truth. Humanity's extinction was a myth. Their vengeance was eternal. Their ships were not ruins. They were graves that still remembered war, and any fool who disturbed them would learn the meaning of true power. And in that endless silence, the Velshar's sensors caught one final message transmitted across the galaxy. A single phrase in old Terran standard: Project Eternum, Phase 2, Awakening initiated. The dead were not resting anymore. They were rising, and the universe would never sleep again. The wreckage of the Dominion fleet floated like ashes in the cold dark of space. The stars were silent again, and only one light remained: the dim blue glow of the Terran super-destroyer Invictus. Captain Threx watched from the cracked bridge of the Velshar, his crew shaken and speechless. Every sensor reading screamed the same thing. The human warship had done the impossible, defeating an entire armada with logic, will, and memory alone. "They're gone," whispered the technician. "All of them." Threx didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the message still flickering across the comm screen. Project Eternum, Phase 2 initiated. Moments later, the Invictus began to move again, slow and deliberate, like a titan awakening from hibernation. The alien crew could only watch as it sent out waves of energy across the sector. Signals echoed through ancient frequencies, bouncing off the ruins of forgotten satellites. Each signal carried a pulse, a heartbeat of human code. "It's transmitting," said the communication officer, "but not to us. It's calling to something." Across the void, shadows answered one by one. Dormant Terran warships hidden in asteroid fields and derelict stations lit up. Each bore the same insignia, the silver eagle clutching the earth. "There are dozens," gasped the sensor operator. "No, hundreds," Threx whispered. "They were never dead. They were sleeping," Admiral Rourke's voice returned, calm and resolute. "Humanity once believed peace would protect us. We were wrong. We learned that only memory protects peace. So we became memory." The Invictus transmitted one final code to the Velshar, a stream of encrypted data that played as light across their displays. The crew watched as holographic images appeared. Scenes of Earth, oceans, cities, children laughing under blue skies, soldiers standing beneath a flag of stars. "Why are you showing us this?" Threx asked, voice trembling. Rourke replied, "Because you must understand what you feared. Humanity's power was never our machines. It was our heart, our unity, our will to rise again no matter how many times we fell." His voice grew softer. "You saw our weapons, but you never saw our compassion. And that is what makes us unstoppable." The Velshar systems rebooted on their own. Power restored, shields stabilizing. "It's giving us energy," the engineer said in disbelief. Rourke continued, "Leave this sector. Tell your worlds what you witnessed. Tell them humanity does not seek vengeance. Only remembrance, but if they come again, if they disturb our dead, then eternity will answer." Threx bowed his head, the first gesture of respect he had ever given to another species. "Admiral Rourke," he said quietly, "I will tell them. I swear." The holographic light flickered one last time, and the voice of Rourke echoed across every channel. "Then go, and remember this. Humanity does not end. Humanity adapts." The Invictus's engines flared, folding space around it, and in a blinding shimmer of light, it vanished into the abyss, leaving nothing behind but silence and a faint trail of blue energy. The Velshar turned slowly toward home. Its captain and crew forever changed. None of them spoke, because words were too small for what they had seen. As their ship entered hyperspace, Threx recorded a single message for his people. "To all Dominion worlds," he said, "we thought humanity extinct. We were wrong. They are everywhere, not in flesh but in memory. They are not gone. They are eternal, far away." Deep in the dark heart of space, dozens of Terran ships awoke together, systems humming, AIs stirring, voices whispering across the void. "For Earth," they said in unison, "for the fallen, for the future." And as the stars shimmered, the galaxy trembled once more because it finally understood the truth. Humanity's greatest weapon was never its fleets or its technology. It was the promise that even in death, they would rise again, watch again, and protect again, That day, every civilization learned one unshakable truth. Humans do not vanish. Humans become legend and legends never die.